Alright guys, what's up? It's Paradox224, and welcome to the long overdue Crash Bandicoot review. This game has been going on a lot longer than it should have, especially since what is it with me and cutting close calls? Like cutting right towards the end. I never understood that. Anyway, if you guys have watched my channel, or if you're new to my channel and this is the first thing you're seeing, what I do is after I record a game, I talk about it. I talk about what I thought of the game and all of the pros and the cons in the game if you ever decide to go and play it, or if you ever watch through my Let's Play and see me get frustrated. So I just wanted to cover everything in it. And the first thing, we're going to go through the pros first. You have to understand that this was one of the largest games that the PlayStation had to offer. Like, this was something brand new no one had ever really gotten into. This was one of the major 3D games. It really brought the PlayStation in. This and a lot of other titles brought the PlayStation a lot of fame and glory. Like this, Spyro, all of the demos, the demo packs they used to give out. Do you remember those? They used to give out. I have one still. Twisted Metal. All kinds of amazing games came out of the PlayStation that year, and it really brought the PlayStation a lot of power. It's really why the PlayStation is such a major contender as it is right now. And it was also something new because, like I said, with the 3 dimensions, it added a lot of ideas, it added a lot of creativity and expansion upon the modern platformer and how the platformer moves, because you're not just moving left to right anymore, you're moving in 3 dimensions. You can move left to right and then shift to a different plane in the third dimension, and it added a lot of complexity to the game. And like you can see here, you have branching pathways. They had a lot of good ideas and a lot of flexibility on what they could do, and it really made the game something unique. Now we're also going to jump into the cons, and the cons here is this is a major example of what I hate. I hate the viewing angle of this game. Because of the viewing angle, you can never tell really how you look, because this stage is not the best example of it. There are other examples that get a lot worse, where you're really in a two-dimensional plane. A two-dimensional plane that seems three-dimensional, and then you suddenly have to move into the third dimension. And this game was really, really unforgiving on where invisible walls were for you. So if you didn't know where it was, you were immediately just gone. But as I said earlier, this was one of the major 3D games, so there was a lot of playtesting that was involved, and a lot of things I didn't understand. Controls are also something of a finicky process. What can kill you in one area can't kill you in another. What you do sometimes there's slips and slides that Crash will do when you're not really paying attention to it. Like that, right there. That point where I jumped right on the corner, I died the last time I did that, and then the time after that, I was successful. And it's just those kinds of, like, nitpicky moments where the game kind of does work and doesn't. Again, a lot of this stuff is going to be based off of them getting the idea of what 3-dimensional gaming was going to be. The same thing with the art direction. Sometimes the art direction is a little confusing. Don't get me wrong, Crash looks fine, the levels look fine, the water is okay for graphics at the time. I just don't like that you can't tell what some things are. You can't tell whether things are good or bad until you've run into them. And this is going to get me into another thing that I hate. I hate a couple things still. I hate the checkpoints. The checkpoints are annoying because in levels that are insanely long, there's only like one checkpoint that they ever put in, and that's it. And then you have to try and get through it. And if you don't, you die. And where do you end up? You end up way, way back wherever you last saved, which was never the last time you got into a bonus round, which is harder to do as you get further along in the game. And I hate that. I hated that they didn't add the ability to save. It's why I'm really happy they added save states on the EPSXE, is because it makes it a lot easier for me to save and load up the game, because I can just go, okay, load the state, we're done. I can hit the record button and oh, this is the trippy one. Anyway, this is the point where I can just go like, oh, load the state up, we're done, we're there, I don't have to worry about anything anymore. But in Crash, in the actual game, you had to survive all the way there, else you didn't make it. And that's just kind of annoying. The last thing that I hated, don't get me wrong, I love this game a lot. It was a really fun game to play. It's frustrating, is one of the more frustrating games I've ever played, but it was a lot of fun. I hate there's no explanation of the gameplay. Every single boss, you have to figure out what you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to hit. And don't get me wrong, I hate games that handhold. I hate games that are like, if you've seen the new infamous Second Son, you'll understand what I mean by handholding. Like, every single time you ever have to do anything, there's immediately a pop-up that tells you how to do something. And I've never liked that is how they run the entire game, because then you're just hand-holding them through the game. The exploration is their own, but you keep instructing them on what to do, and there's a point at which you can go away. Like, there's a point where you can go, oh, this is how you do something, and then walk away. Second Son never did that. Second Son was like, oh, this is what you do. Oh, this is what you do. Oh, this is what you continue to do. And that's what we don't have with Crash. We don't have any of that at all. We're just thrown into an environment and hope that we understand exactly what we're going to do. And it's not always the best method for me. So, but maybe I could just be one of the 1 in a million that doesn't like how games don't explain everything. Or games don't explain at least some of it without revealing all of it. But I could just be weird here. But even with all that said and done, I love this game. If you've got a heart of gold and about a mile's worth of patience, I would recommend it for you. If you get frustrated like I do, find something to calm you down and have fun. After this, I've got a minigame lined up. You guys are going to be interested to see what it was. I'll put a link to it in the description. I will see you guys later.